needs to pay for all my children.
Yeah, we back in here. How y'all doing? What's going on YouTube? What's going on Rumble? This is Mr. Royce Jay coming at you guys with another live stream. How you doing? It's Thursday. The work week is almost over. How y'all doing? Y'all making it through? Powering through to Friday? One more day. One more day. Valentine's Day was yesterday. I know some of y'all was out there eating them booty biscuits late in the night. Big Shirley. Yeah. Yeah. I keep telling y'all, I know what y'all do. Yeah. How many passport bros is out there buying Valentine's Day for Dominican girls? For the chapeadoras. I know that's what y'all was doing. Sending money on WhatsApp and sending them cash apps and stuff. I know what y'all was out there doing. Making them girls feel good. Paying your Valentine's Day's dues. I know what y'all was out there doing. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to all the lovers out there. Got it in yesterday. And today is you know, happy side piece day. You probably got your Valentine's stuff today. Yeah. It's a cold world out there. It's a cold world. I know. I know. Yeah. Hey, do me a favor and hit that like button as you come in over on YouTube and Rumble. If you're really brave, announce yourself and where you're watching from, because I like to know who I'm out there reaching with my babble. Y'all know how I do. Yeah. So, what y'all got planned for this evening? Besides some ooh baby baby please and you know explaining yourself. I know that's what y'all doing out there. Yeah. We're gonna let a few more people get in here. And before I get to babbling, you know, like to get a few more people in here so I can have an audience to talk to, you know. Tell your Dominican girl you gotta check out my live stream for a little bit, you know. It's how y'all girls be.
I'm a bitch from the streets. I get that money. I get that money. Bitch, give me what you got.
Yeah. I know y'all got some of them girls on Pedro Clasante. Yeah, I know about it. Yeah. Yeah. You know she got more than one guy, right? I'm just saying, you know, deal with it for what it is, you know. Be in there for a good time, not a long time, you know. So anyway, right now, before we get into the topic, basically there is a hearing going on in the great state of Georgia in Fulton County to decide whether Fannie Willis should be removed from the Donald Trump election fraud case. And I was watching it on the lead attorney's channel. Shout out to the lead attorney. And they were doing a play by play analysis of the case. And right now, Nathan Wade is on the stand, and he's up there doing his lawyer thing, where he's being um, examined and cross-examined, and he's answering questions in a very lawyer-like manner. You know, if you've ever been in a courtroom and you've had to see people testify, if you're watching this case, you'll see that lawyers answer questions in a very different way than the general public does. And that's because more or less they can read what's going to happen in the case. And I'm not saying that they're perfect in doing that, but they have a very good idea of what questions are going to be asked. And what they try to do is they're trying to give themselves as much cover as possible in how they answer the questions. And it is the job of the lawyer that's doing the examination or the cross examination to uh, pull that truth out of them, to trap them in lies, and to present a case through the testimony of the person being cross examined, um, to present a case to the judge that this person is either credible or not credible, that this person is guilty or not guilty. There's really no such thing legally as innocent. There's only guilty or not guilty. And you know, which is what Nathan Wade is more or less trying to do, because he's really fighting two cases. Not only is he fighting uh, for his part in the Donald Trump case, he's also fighting um, his wife filing an appeal in their divorce filings that would impeach his prior testimony. So that's what we have going on there. So it's pretty interesting to watch. Um, since you all are here, um, you all are gonna watch me, but later on, if you ain't doing much or if you're interested in what's going on in this Fannie Willis case, check out the lead attorney. I believe Angry Man um, went on went on live and he was doing his analysis of the case and stuff. So there's going to be um, a lot of good content based out of this hearing, and really this whole um, Fannie Willis uh, saga. So there's plenty of stuff. If you like that kind of stuff, if you care about it, there'll be a lot of good content to check out. You know. Anyway, I'm here to talk more about passport bros, passport parrots, Blexpats, and people who just simply travel. I thought it would be something to talk about a little more, because as I was reflecting on my time on the panel at the Bernard Riley channel, um, it occurred to me that there are a lot of people who are really new to the passport bro discussion, to the passport bro phenomenon, and they don't have a background in the history of how passport bros came into existence, and a lot of the information that they do have is surface, and really it's not well researched, and with a lot of the content creators, I don't think a lot of the more popular ones really get into what a passport bro is, and um, therefore, because they don't do that, you don't really have an understanding of what a passport bro is, and uh, as opposed to a passport Pookie, a passport Keisha, a passport Parrot, which I talked about yesterday, Blex Pats, and people that simply travel. I brought up the term Blexpats, and a lot of people was like, "Oh, he just made that up." And as I've said before, I said it yesterday. Blexpat is not a term that I came up with. It is a term that Bo Rakes, who is a content creator, he came up with that term, and he came up with that term. I want to say like around 2000, like 16 or 17. You know, he's been on YouTube since about that time. And as I've mentioned before, he is. Hold on, get out of here. Get out of here. It's one of my dogs. I started talking. They want to come in here like they want to be a part of the conversation. Hey, what you doing? You know? So, but he Bo Rakes came up with that term, and he makes pretty much Blexpat and passport bro content and stuff like that. He is one of the guys that I consider him to be an OG in that part of the game. Now, as I said before, the term really came up. It came up. I would argue it came up actually before um, King Sigma um, mentioned it, but King Sigma was the one that put it out there in YouTube. He put it out in these spaces, and he's credited with pretty much being the person that brought about the term passport bro. And I don't have an issue with that. Although I disagree with it slightly, I will say he is the one that brought it to YouTube. He made the term popular in YouTube. I will agree to that. You know, and he was really the one that defined it, and he defined it as basically, specifically black men who explore their options outside of the U.S. as far as base of operations, economics, culture, um, dating, marriage, dating, and sex. And as I mentioned yesterday, he put relationships and sex last because the focus was really on exploring the options of leaving the U.S. and being able to set up bases of operations in other places and being able to earn money in other places. And with the passport bro um, phenomenon or movement, whichever you prefer, this was also the way for um, specifically black American men to figure out ways to earn income outside of the US, even if that money was from the US. And this money was for the purposes of supporting their lifestyle in other places. And this is where a lot of the push between that and the pandemic really um, opening up remote and mobile work. This is where the idea and the push for black men to figure out ways to do that came from. So shout out to King Sigma. Um, that before then you had black men travel, um, which was like that was more of a Charles Tyler thing. If you all don't know who Charles Tyler is, Charles Tyler was one of the first guys. Him and Al Greaves were really, uh, two of the first guys that really brought up the idea of leaving the U.S. and finding other places to live, to find love, to make money, so forth and so on. So, shout out to those brothers. Rest in peace to Charles Tyler. He passed, I want to say like maybe 2018, 2017. It's been a while and I can't remember exactly, but he passed from a health condition. So rest in peace to that brother, and he was really one of the pioneers of bringing that to social media, bringing that to YouTube, so forth and so on. Al Greaves made the movie Frustrated and made the movie Frustrated too, and he explored um, the idea of men who were frustrated with the dating and mating situation in the U.S., uh, who then went to other places to find um, their piece of happiness, and part of that piece of happiness was relationships, just a more manageable standard of living, so forth and so on. So shout out to those brothers. Now I've talked about the thing before with the passport parrots, and that term parrot actually came back from my days of my Masonic fraternity days. Yes, I am a Freemason. Um, this was a term we used to use for guys who they wanted to show up at the parties with the gold compass and square and with the ring and walk around like they were Freemasons. But when you approached them with certain questions, we called it catechism. When you approach them with certain questions, um, basically to see what they know and where they're at, and they didn't have the appropriate answers. And these are simple questions, and it was based on the lessons that you learn in becoming a master mason. And these guys would know the answers, and they were looked at as parrots. You have a lot of that term parrot. You can kind of use that term in a lot of different spaces. I started using it in regards to people uh, who claim to be martial artists and MMA fighters and stuff like that, and you would press them on certain stuff, or you would get them in the ring, and you find out real quick, oh, this dude don't know jack. you know, he don't know shit, and so those are like parrots. It's basically like stolen valor. Shout out to my military guys, where you could have people faking being serving in the military, and the big thing is yeah, I was special ops, and you start talking to him, and you find out, oh, this dude, he don't even know basic military stuff, let alone special ops stuff. And the thing about it is, when you're in the when you're in the special forces pipeline, even if you've tried out for it and stuff, there are certain things you learn along the way that people outside of that process and of that lifestyle, there are certain things that they know that um, people outside of it wouldn't know. Like you know, the something as simple as you know, being a ranger. There are certain things that a ranger would know about that ranger lifestyle that people outside of it don't know. Same thing with special forces, U.S. Army Special Forces. There are certain things that people involved in that life, they would know that people outside of it would know. There's a certain understanding and certain concepts that they know that people outside would know. And there's um, certain elements to the training that anybody that's been through, even selection, which is um, before you are accepted into a special forces school, that you would know about selection if you actually went. That people who haven't went, they don't know, and this is people, even people in the U.S. Army, they wouldn't know that. There's a lot of things about rangering that people in the life, they know that even people in the regular army, they wouldn't know. So that's where that whole parrot thing would come in with that as well. Now, that being said, there's a lot of content. Getting back to the whole idea of passport bros, there's a lot of content made about passport bros, both pro passport bro and anti passport bro. And I think what happens with a lot of the content, you have people speaking from a place of number one, ignorance, and number two, speaking out of sensationalism. They you know, and because passport bro is that term is pretty popular right now, particularly in areas like YouTube, Rumble, some of the other content platforms. Um, it's easy to get views for the term passport bro. You know, I myself, I'll tell anybody, I am not a passport bro per se, but I am passport bro adjacent. And when I say that because um, I'm working right now on my third passport. I've filled up two passports, and I've actually had two different styles of passport. One was a military passport, and the other is a civilian passport. I'm working on my third civilian passport, and you know, um, like I said, I've done a lot of traveling. I've stayed in places longer than 2 weeks. I've worked in these places. A lot of places I went to, I was able to um, either already speak the language, or I was able to pick up different elements of the language. Um, I understand the cultures of different places I've been to, and you know, I try to um understand the people in the environment. So as far as the dating part, I've never done that. I've never done that. As far as going to countries and looking for a wife and stuff. I've been married to my wife a long time. I don't need to do that. So as far as you know the dating and mingling and stuff, I couldn't talk to you about that. So, if that's one of the key requirements in the eyes of a lot of people to make a passport bro, I wouldn't be a passport bro because I haven't had to do that. That being said, um, I am a professional people watcher. you know, so um, and I'm kind of nosy. So, I watch a lot of the interactions. And like I said, I've been to some of the places that were that got really hot as far as the passport bro movement and discussion. I've been in those places and seen what the environment is, what the layout of the land is, and so I have a good idea of what happens. As far as the networks, the Passport Bro networks, what would be considered that? Um, I am affiliated with some of the guys that are content creators on YouTube. I'm affiliated with them outside of YouTube, and I have actually met them in different countries, hanging out and stuff in my travels. Shout out to Flip Flop. Shout out to Russell Taylor, Bo Rakes, them guys like that. You know, who else, man? The passport sis chicks. I actually met a couple of them. There's one real popular content creator. I can't even think of her name. Sharice Fairfax. I actually met her. I got photographs hanging out with her and stuff. You know, and I've been able to sit down and hang out with these people, and you know, talk with them and ask them about their experiences and stuff in these places. So I've done these interviews. Just because I don't put up videos um, doesn't mean I hadn't met these people. And I do have photographs, on my Facebook and stuff, with some of these people. So, yeah, That's why I say I'm passport bro adjacent, but I'm not a passport bro. That being said, as I've said before, if I wasn't married, I would definitely be a passport bro because I like traveling. I like being in other countries. I like, learn about other cultures, seeing things that I wouldn't see in the States. I like meeting people, different things like that. Um, so that's something I would do if I weren't already married. If I weren't already happily married, man, I like my wife. you know, for what it's worth, I do. But um, you know, in my travels, I've seen the passport quiches and I've seen the passport pookies. I know what it is that they do in these other countries. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the fights in the airports. I've seen the shenanigans in the different bars in different countries and stuff. Um, yeah. I've seen some stuff, you know, and I've seen, you know, their difficulty in moving in different places and then basically showing the ugly American in those places. You know, my first experience with that was in Southeast Asia in Qatar and Kuwait and stuff. Over there with Americans basically showing their ass. You know, because it was an unfamiliar culture and they insisted on being American in other places instead of when in Rome, do what the Romans do. So yeah, I would say, the early 2000s were my first experience with that. You know, as far as the Blexpats, as I mentioned before, this is a term that Bo Rakes came up with. He came up with this term years ago, and this is basically what a lot of people tend to confuse passport bros with Blexpats. Um, in my experience, this is what I've seen. And Blexpat is a person with a passport that travels specifically for sexual interactions. What I know about this is a few things. Number one, I used to work with a group of guys that would travel to the Dominican Republic. This is back in the 90s, like 90, 95, 96. They would travel to the Dominican Republic to meet chicks and bust down chicks. It is what it is. They was doing that way back 1995, 1996. You know, um, I actually had a few of those guys I work with. They would try to get me to go on those trips, but I was married, so I wasn't going. you know, that was out of the question for me. But these were guys, man, they was doing this back, like I said, 95, 96. So that's how far back I go with it with that. And these guys, they would come back and they would have their pictures and stuff, and they would show their pictures. And oddly enough, there were women at the job that I worked at that would do the same thing. They would go to Jamaica every year. We had a group of there was a group of females that would go to they would go to hedonism and they would let down their hair and bikini straps and all of that stuff. Man, they would be there. They'd be there busting down, man. That was their thing. Hedonism is real big with you know, with the sisters. It's a lot bigger than you think. Um, and like I said, I worked with a group of there was a group of women at my job that would do it, and there was uh there was some females in the military that actually did it too, but it was to a lesser extent and you really didn't hear about what they were doing. But the women that I worked with, when I worked um, at the jail, yeah, man, they definitely, you would definitely hear the conversations. They was just as bad, if not worse, than the guys. So all of this stuff you guys are seeing on Twitter and stuff, um, of the antics of the passport Brendas and the passport Keishas and stuff, yeah, it's been going on. I've known of it since the '90s, since the mid '90s. And in fact, I can think of four women off the top of my head that um, did the Stella. You know, they acted out on the Stella side of the game and married uh, Jamaicans or Africans. You know, Africa was another one. They would get together and they would go to Africa. They would go to they would go to Accra and they would go to what's the city in Africa? The big city in Africa. They would go there and they would meet guys and you know, I know like two of them that ended up having babies by Africans. Um, Now come to think of it, I know of four women that married Jamaicans. You know, from those trips going to Jamaica and stuff. So, you know, and you know, that's part of that black spat slash passport cis type stuff. You know, in fact, a woman that I used to work with, she's retired now. She retired like 4 years before I retired. She ended up divorcing her Jamaican husband, and you know, but she met him on one of those trips. And these weren't just black women; these were white women too. You know, so you had you had that, you know. And then there are people that just like to travel. These are people who have a passport, obviously, to go to different countries that may require a passport. A lot of them just go to places where you don't really need a passport, like the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, and stuff. And they go there, you know, just to hang out and you know, enjoy their vacations and stuff. You know, some of them go there and smoke a little weed, and you know, yeah, they would go there and smoke weed, um, and you know, you see that, and you see. I think the majority of people, even the majority of um, men, of black men who are accused of being passport bros, they're just really just people that um, they want to travel, and part of travel is seeing stuff, experiencing other cultures, and possibly, you know, having some sex. It is what it is, you know. And like I said, I don't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with what grown people do. So as long as it's legal and they're doing it with other consenting adults, I don't have an issue with it. You know, I'm like, hey, do whatever it takes to be happy, you know. So yeah, yeah. But that's pretty much the breakdown on what I know with the passport bros and the you know, even with the black spats. Like I said, you know, I know men and women that pretty much they participate in that lifestyle. They have no plans of putting down any roots overseas. If anything, a lot of those people, if they do find somebody that they really like being with, they try to bring them back to the States, which I always say that's a mistake. You know, that is a horrible, dumb mistake. We've seen too many issues. Even Toni Morrison, um, we see what happened with her situation, bringing her Jamaican husband back to the States, only to find out that you know, he was running up the bag on her and he likes the bussy. You know, so yeah, but I really wouldn't even consider those people passport part of that passport movement because their whole idea is to, you know, get somebody and bring them back, or get some, go overseas and have sex. They're more black expats than anything, looking for love, which part of that love is sex, you know. So um, as far as the Black Pat stuff, I've actually seen. I got some wild stories, from stuff I've seen on resorts, from stuff I've seen in different clubs, and yeah, Americans be getting it in, sometimes to their own detriment. They be getting it in, man. I've seen people on the beach busting down. I've seen people busting down in swimming pools. I've seen them busting down behind bars. I've seen, hotel shenanigans, all of that stuff, man. I like that's something I would probably have to put on the Patreon because I have some really crazy stories. Some really crazy stories of the passport Brendas. Boy, hey, they get buck wild and they do some nasty stuff. That the plastic bag girl is nothing. The plastic bag girl is nothing. I seen a group of sisters, a group of women get bust down in a pool in broad daylight, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, yeah, you know. And and I wasn't the only one that seen it. I was there with witnesses. I got people that they probably wouldn't get on YouTube, but I got people to confirm the stories I got because they was there seeing what I saw, um yeah. And we talk about Jamaica a lot with that, but you know they bust down in Mexico too, without a doubt. They be busting down in Mexico, you know. Now I've been to Italy and I've seen women, try to get with Italian guys and stuff, but I haven't seen any of the antics up close. But I you hear conversation, so I know about that. You know Stuff like that. Yeah, I know about the red light districts. I have seen the red light districts. I haven't participated in the shenanigans in the red light districts, but I've had to rescue soldiers out of the red light district because they went a little too far with the shenanigans. And you know, hey, I'm gonna say this: the Polar's eye is no joke. And if you know what the Polar's eye is, you know where I'm going. Polar's eye is no joke, boy. Hey, I seen the Polar's eye, you know, put boot the skull, you know, of Americans, boy. Americans get over there and get out of line in Germany. Woo, it's not a good result. Yeah, and so and that's the thing. That's the thing with legit passport bros. They give you the information to avoid those problems. Now, whether you take the information or not, that's up to you. And shout out to Andre and Andrea, Love Overseas, and Pablo Fresco Bar because they really do a good job of trying to educate guys on how to move in these other countries. Bo Rakes does a good job at educating people. Mr. Flip Flop is another content creator who's been around a long time. Um, Pretty much passport bro. He does a good job of telling people how to move in places like the Dominican Republic. Russell Taylor does a good job of that. All of those guys, even guys like what's the one white guy? He Educated Traveler. Educated Traveler is another one. He does a really good job explaining, breaking down the culture, breaking down the economics, how to buy things in those places, how not to get scammed. They're really good. With that, another brother that does a really good job of teaching. If you want to go to Spanish countries, a brother that does a really good job of teaching you how to learn the Spanish dialects in places like Dominican Republic, Cuba, Puerto Rico. That brother's name is Blogs. Belinge Blogs. Say that fast 3 times. But he does a really good job of break down the Spanish dialects, and he does it boots on ground. He'll be in these countries and he'll speak in their dialect, and you can see the people going, "Wow, I didn't realize you're not from here because your use of our Spanish is so good." So shout out to him. And there's other people too that even if they aren't in the Passport Bro network, they still give out good information on how to move um, while in country. I myself, me and my wife, we have a travel agency, and we'll explain different things from the different countries we've been to, and how to move, how not to get finessed, how to um, get the things you need like transportation and stuff like that. So we do that. So check us out on Global Navigators. That's another channel that we have on Global Navigators. We're gonna start doing more content on that channel to educate people that want to travel to the places that we've been. Um, we've got some big trips planned coming up, like to Africa. We want to go to South Africa, West Africa, and North Africa, specifically Egypt. Um, we got some trips planned for that, and I'll put up videos of that stuff once we make those trips. Um, and we'll try to educate you all as best we can. You know, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the chat to questions. If you guys have any questions you would like to ask me, um, put them in the chat and I'll answer them as best I can if they are stuff that I can talk about on YouTube. You know, I'm trying to grow this channel, so I ain't trying to answer questions about meeting the chappies and stuff. Although I know how it's done, and I'm pretty familiar with uh, the possible issues that you may encounter meeting chappies, as far as actually dealing interacting with chappies on that level. I don't, like I said, I don't do that. So I'm trying to be good. But hey, I'll tell you, in certain places they are very forward, very ambitious, very assertive. They are that. That being said, um, and that's specifically Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic is burnt up, and really the people that burnt the Dominican Republic up are Black Americans. Y'all cooked the DR. You know, y'all cooked the DR, really. You Um, I could explain some stuff about Brazil as well. There's actually a Black American community in Brazil of Black Americans who left the U.S. and set up, you know, set up shop, set up, lives in Brazil. I can talk about that. Um, there's a few communities of Americans and Canadians, well, U.S. citizens and Canadians that moved to Belize. One of those places, and I mentioned this before, is right outside of Corozal, and they actually have a little meetup, and the same thing in the Dominican Republic in Sosua too. you have a lot of Canadians and a lot of Germans there, and they have their own little areas that they like to hang out and mingle and stuff like that. Um, so and you have a growing uh, modern American community actually in the Dominican Republic in places um, like Sosua and Boca Chica and stuff like that. So yeah, I know about those places, and I've met people there and that sat down and had drinks, talked with them and stuff because that's what I like to do. I like to meet people. I like to talk and get to know stuff about them. Because that's just kind of person I am, which makes me a great interviewer. So if you all want to be interviewed or you would like to see me interview somebody, support the channel. Do me a favor and support the channel, man. I've got some interviews coming up. Some Chicago rap legends, couple of comedians from Chicago that are now out there, you know, working nationwide, making money and stuff. I'm gonna be doing some interviews with those people, and I would like to interview guys like Andre from Love Crossing Borders. Um, I would like to interview Pablo Frescobar, uh, Bo Rakes. Oh, I'm gonna try to get him on the show, you know, and stuff. And I'll probably reach out to maybe even Russell Taylor and see if I can do an interview with him. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but good brother. I hadn't spoken to him because I just hadn't spoken to him. But we you know we have a pretty cool, friendly relationship. Like I know a lot of these content creators outside of YouTube that you know that you guys see on YouTube. I know them outside of YouTube. And you know I like to get them on the channel and interview them. I think for the most part, a lot of them would mind. So they enjoy talking about their experiences and their lifestyles and movements, so forth and so on. So yeah, yeah. So that's something I would like to do. So um, well, it's looking like you all don't have any questions. Um, You guys are not very active in the chat. Do me a favor, if you ain't gonna put yourself in the chat, that's cool. But do me a favor, hit that like button, man. Even if you have to catch it on the replay, which I know some of you all will. If you have to catch it on the replay, do me a favor, leave me a like, man. I appreciate it. Um, so other than that, I'm going to shut this down and I'll probably double back a little bit later on tonight. It depends. I actually did one last night, so I might double up again and do something tonight. Who knows? I'll see how I feel. But hey, I'm about to get out of here. This is Royce J of Royce Media. Like, share, and subscribe. Get in the comment section. Thank you for those of you all who came. Thank you for your support, spending a little time with me. I'm about to get on out of here. Y'all be easy, be safe, and I will see you all on the next live stream. I'm out.